pro wrestling belt has long been associated with all sorts of greatness. As a pro wrestling fan, we've all had our fonder memories being that of a championship being exchanged. Gigantic gold belts being waved over your favorite pro wrestler's head, showing that they encompass the best that the company has to offer during that particular period of time. Not all belts are created the same, however. Or it's your boy, the Cosmic Squid, and come with me as we discuss some of my personal favorite belt designs. Now, this is in no particular order. All of these belt designs have their pros and their cons, but we're just going to be discussing pros at this particular point in time. I've watched a lot of different wrestling companies outside of just WWE, so it won't be a solely WWE exclusive list, although most of them do involve WWE titles. Without further ado, let's begin. Coming in at number 10, we have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt from the Ruthless Aggression era. When I say Ruthless Aggression era, we're talking about the era between 2002 and I want to say maybe about 2013. During that era, Triple H reigned supreme, maintaining somewhat of a stranglehold on the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt. But despite all of that, the belt has been held by quite a few people of note. Batista, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, Booker T, of course, as well as a ton of other extremely talented pro wrestlers that I can't even name off the top of my head right now. Now, of course, the importance of this particular belt can't be overstated in my life as a pro wrestling fan because it's the first belt I've ever seen being contested for. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt is one of those matches. In fact, it's the first match that I personally ever saw, ever. And I've been hooked on learning about pro wrestling ever since, and it's all because of that match. Coming in at number 9 is the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship belt from the Ruthless Aggression era. This was the other big title back in the Ruthless Aggression era, of course, being the main SmackDown title, being held by legends like Kurt Angle, The Rock, and of course the late great Eddie Guerrero. This particular championship was one of the most exciting championships that you could ever hope to watch in terms of two competitors going up against each other. Of course, whenever The Undertaker had his American Badass gimmick, he had that title all the time. And then, of course, the absolute wars that Kurt Angle fought with Eddie Guerrero and some other WWE superstars. It was absolutely insane. Made me want to tune in every single week just to make sure that an extremely hated heel was going to get his comeuppance and have his title taken from the babyface. Coming in at number 8 is the Intercontinental Championship from the Ruthless Aggression era. Now, while the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt was the championship match that made me get into pro wrestling, watching the absolute battles between the likes of Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship belt kept me a wrestling fan. You had some of the best wrestlers have that title from, of course, once again, we're going to be talking about The Rock during his younger years with the Nation of Domination. You have Rob Van Dam putting on absolute classics every single week, sometimes for the championship, sometimes not, but every time Rob Van Dam was on your screen with that championship, you knew you were going to see something special. Not to mention Eddie Guerrero taking the Intercontinental Championship belt on the independent circuit when he was released from the WWE. That was absolute madness. Ever since then, I always wanted that belt. It made me want to become a pro wrestler just to have a belt because everything that belt represented was just so absolutely cool. So coming in at number 7 is going to be the Intercontinental Championship belt from the current era of professional wrestling. This particular belt was one of the first belts to be revamped for the current era, and it looks absolutely amazing. Even after all these years as a pro wrestling fan, the Intercontinental Championship belt remains one of my favorite belts to be put on the line. Every time there's a championship match basically the new longest reigning Intercontinental Championship Gunja, who's just this freak athlete. You had Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of strong style, who is absolutely no stranger to Intercontinental Championship belts. And then of course your monsters like Braun Strowman having the belt as well. And we can't forget guys like Ricochet, who also have elevated that belt to a whole new level and has maintained the prestige of that belt. Every time that belt is on the line, you always know that the match is going to be of a high caliber. At the time of this recording, Sami Zayn is the current WWE Intercontinental Champion right now, and he's about to have a triple threat match with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable. Like I said before, this championship belt always delivers when it comes to matches because these guys are amazing. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt from the current era of pro wrestling. So I like a good throwback. I am in no way, shape, or form ashamed to say I'm an old head whenever it comes to watching professional wrestling. And by old head, I mean whenever I came into watching professional wrestling, like I said, which was around the Ruthless Aggression era. And this particular belt is a throwback to how that championship belt used to look back in the day, the big gold belt, which now has a shiny new WWE logo in the middle. And I'm not even mad. The person who first won that belt was Seth Rollins, and he maintained a streak and kept that belt as a workhorse championship belt. I mean, he was on Raw every single week almost, either involved with some sort of extension of his own personal storyline or putting on championship matches on TV, on weekly TV. He did this. Now, of course, I don't like the way Seth Rollins lost the championship. It's one of those situations where I kind of feel like it took away from the championship, getting him involved in basically another championship match. But at the same time, you could tell Seth Rollins having these matches every single week and having to put on the caliber of matches he always had to put on, he was getting tired and he needed the rest, so I can understand that as well. And honestly, I like Damian Priest. For those of you who aren't in the know, Damian Priest is the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, cashing in his money in the bank briefcase in order to beat Drew McIntyre. And so far, I still like what he's doing. I still like him as a character, so I couldn't be happier for the current champion. All right, for the judgment day. Coming in at number 5 is our first non-WWE championship belt, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship belt from 2008 to 2021. So the first time I saw this belt was when AJ Styles was still in the Bullet Club. It was my first introduction to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really kept up with it as much as I would like to have. But every single champion that I've ever seen with this belt has been amazing. I've seen battles between AJ Styles and Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada versus Tanahashi. Just whoever has this belt, or at least whoever had this belt back around that time period, was the pinnacle of Japanese professional wrestling. Its influence can actually be felt through this current era of WWE at the moment, having a lot of New Japan people making the jump to WWE. But the era of the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, whenever he was IWGP Heavyweight Champion, was just amazing. He always put on solid matches. He's one of my favorite pro wrestlers currently. He brought the prestige of that belt up to a whole other level before he departed to AEW, and we're always going to be thankful for that. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the Lucha Underground Heavyweight Championship belt from Lucha Underground from 2014 through 2018. Now, Lucha Underground was one of my favorite pro wrestling programs back in its heyday. I honestly thought it had all of the right materials, all of the right wrestlers, and all of the right storylines to become a true competitor sucks that it's not currently around because not only did they have some of the awesome storylines of the day, but they also had some of the coolest belt designs of the day too. The big prize being the Lucha Underground Heavyweight Championship belt. Champions like Mil Muertes and Pentagon Jr., like the coolest wrestler on the roster, always had the belt. Another really awesome thing about Lucha Underground, or at least what I felt in my personal opinion about Lucha Underground, was that there was really no true concept of a good guy and a bad guy. The type of moral ambiguity that I really wish I saw in the current WWE product. Of course, you had guys who are good guys, like Prince Puma, Rey Fenix, but of course for every Pentagon Jr., Prince Puma, or Mil Muertes, there was a Jack Swagger. I don't even know what to go with. Anyway, the Lucha Underground Championship belt looked awesome. It looked the part of the sheer importance of that title because it looked just so ridiculously important. I mean, being a champion means that you need to be the most eye-catching thing in the room, and that belt is very eye-catching. Sticking to Lucha Underground, coming in at number 3 is going to be the Gift of the Gods Championship from Lucha Underground. It's going to be from circa about 2015 through 2018. The concept of the Gift of the Gods was basically a whole bunch of wrestlers competed for these amulets that fit into the Gift of the Gods Championship via tournament-style brackets until the person who won the entire tournament was the Gift of the Gods champion. That championship belt was basically like Lucha Underground's Money in the Bank contract. They could basically either challenge the current champion or just install themselves in a championship match. It was a good concept, a cool looking belt, and great execution. It's just a shame the show went under. Now, this belt was introduced around 2018 and it's still currently in rotation at the moment. And the people who've had this belt have gone on to do great things either with WWE or outside of it. This particular championship belt lives up to its counterparts on the main roster by being given to the best wrestler or most entertaining wrestler on the roster. I've always felt like there's a ton of unrecognized talent in the WWE because they keep scrapping belts. Belts like the European Championship and the Light Heavyweight Championship, even the Cruiserweight title. I mean, there are so many people who can hold those titles right now. But I digress. This is about the NXT Championship, the North American Championship, and its design is very unique to the WWE, having that burgundy color strap and the circular design on the base of the belt. On top of that, it's just so versatile, showing up on the main roster a number of times when Dominic Mysterio was the North American champion. Here's to hoping that belt has longevity in the WWE. And last but not least, coming in at number 1 is the WWE Hardcore Championship belt from 1998 through 2002. Now, of course, I'm not talking about that garbage belt that they brought back when they had the whole WWE ECW era. I'm talking about the old school Hardcore Championship belt that was first presented to Mick Foley during his Mankind era. Once again, just kind of like the Intercontinental Championship, you never had a disappointing hardcore match. The thing that made this particular belt unique was that it could take place at any time, anywhere. As long as you had a referee, you could use any means to win that title. And some of the most unlikely people held that title, but it was also one of those situations where you had the toughest SOB holding that title. Guys like Hardcore Holly, Rob Van Dam, Steve Blackman, and once again, so many other people, pretty much because that belt exchanged hands sometimes multiple times a night. Once again, a unique concept for a belt that I think should come back to the WWE. With guys like Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and Bronson Reed currently on the roster, it would be very interesting to see how that particular type of title would be handled with this current group of pro wrestlers. So there you go. There's my list of some of my favorite titles in professional wrestling. Once again, this is just my list, so let me know what you think down in the comment section right there. And who knows, I could do a commenters edition of this particular subject a little bit later on, because there are a ton of wrestling championships, there are a ton of wrestling promotions, there are a ton of awesome belt designs. So there's no doubt in my mind that even, if I haven't covered your favorite belt, it might be in a part 2. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you will know whenever I upload a video. I've been the Cosmic Squid. You've been awesome.